Hello and welcome! Tonight on the show, we show you the might of our taste buds with Marmite. We are the beasts with the yeast. We are so glad to have you. This is Sauce Spoken.
And we're back. We are Sauce Spoken. With a podcast detailing your favorite sauces, dips, and condiments. My name's Adam. I'll be your host, and I'm joined here this week by my co-host, Tori.
Oh, hello, good afternoon. My name's Tori, and to my right, an international man of mystery known only to some, E. Hi, E. How you doing?
I like that intro. Very fitting,
International.
too.
Yeah.
E.
I try to mix and mash whatever you give them and throw an E in there.
It works.
I think the mystery part serves, accurately. Amy was giving me heck today for not being on Instagram or on Facebook.
You are a mystery, but not in the way that you think you are.
Yeah.
You think you're like mysterious and suave. I think you're like, what the fuck is this guy honestly
you're like
about?
a paradox, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's nice to be here, as always.
Oh, good.
So,
Yeah. Good to have you, E.
thanks.
How was your week this week, E? Speaking of mysteries, unveil it for us.
Unveil it. Oh, same old, same old. Got to hang out with some friends. Went out to had salmon and shrimp with Scott. And after working on helping him build a shed, I had breakfast with my coworker, Samantha.
Bob,
Killing
for the
it.
listeners,
Just out and about, living life, doing what I like to do.
I'm going to start calling you Hanson.
Funny.
Bop.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, okay. That took me a while. I was thinking Chris Hansen.
Yeah, well, people will be Chris Hansen around him.
I mean, yeah.
I can
I
see
don't know
Eric
who
showing up
Chris
to some
Hansen
girl's
is.
I
house.
watch a lot of that on
Why don't you take a
YouTube.
seat
That's
over
funny
here?
stuff.
Chris Hansen. I don't know who that is.
Are you
Dateline, have a
fucking
seat.
kidding me? That's not even internet. That's fucking TV, Eric.
What? What's
Dateline
TV?
NBC, To Catch a Predator.
To Catch a Predator? Never seen it.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Okay.
It's
He's
so
the
good.
he's the guy that the predators come in and he's like, why don't you take a seat over here?
Oh, yeah. You mentioned...
Who are you here to meet?
Yeah. Why do you have condoms in a six-pack of wine coolers?
I'm here to watch some TV with a kid.
Wow.
Why do you have a suitcase full of dildos, sir?
Oh, man. It's just...
I'm a traveling salesman.
That's it.
Oh, boy. Tori, anything about you this week? Anything crazy?
Oh, boy. Well, I'm delighted because we can feed the birds again. For those in western Pennsylvania...
Not a lot going on in your week since last week
No,
when
no.
you said the same thing.
I wasn't asked last week.
Yeah, you said the thing about the birds. We talked about the birds.
Are you certain? Because I'm almost certain I wasn't asked last week.
What was last week's episode?
The mustard?
Oh, yeah. The hot mustard, yeah. Or supposed to be hot. but it wasn't.
Oh, yeah. Are you sure you didn't get asked?
I'm 100% sure.
You think he's actually 100%?
He could be.
I'm a fucking idiot anyway.
It gets put by my
Again,
test.
It doesn't matter what I
The
say,
listeners
ever.
will know the truth.
We were barely able to figure out what we tried last week, so...
Well, okay. I mean, you can scrap that whole fucking thing for what it's worth.
We'll keep it for the listeners.
Whatever.
I could be wrong for that matter.
Oh, God. But
I didn't even see his face he gave you. I just noticed you stopped. That's when I looked at you. I was like, why'd you stop?
Yeah. I got the fucking eyeballs over here. They got a listening gallery. You ends up
That's
making
what-
eyeballs. at
That's
each
the
other.
exact face Eric always makes at me anytime I say anything. He's always like, the ratings.
Yeah, I don't know. Conspiracies against me is what's happening.
Oh, man.
It would be funny if I was totally wrong and it sounded like I was trying to gaslight you to the listeners about the bird thing.
Yeah, I mean, I had two things written down, and we got on the paintball thing, and my week was never inquired upon.
Oh.
Yeah.
What else happened last week that you want to mention?
I can save that for another week. I think I'm pretty well covered.
Okay. Well, speaking of other things that we recently did, we just got done recording a podcast with Tori, do you want to give an introduction? Because you set this whole arrangement up.
Right, we were talking to a fella on Instagram, another guy in the UK. His name's Martin. He has a wonderful podcast. It's called Pods Like Us. It's a podcast about podcasting, where of course, he'll ask those who do it, those in the know about things, of and relating to podcasting, both subject matter, technical stuff, and the personal side of it all. So it's a really great show. Check him out. I'm certain he's on every platform there is. I can't imagine him not, but we're friends with him on Instagram, so go ahead and search our friends list. You'll find him there. Pods Like Us. His name is Martin, And yeah, we had the opportunity to be on his show, and it was a delight. It was really a delight. It was a fun time.
I wonder, since we had mentioned to listeners, we record a little bit in advance, and he didn't mention when that was coming out. Did he give you any indication on that, Tori?
You know what? Now that you mentioned it, no, he did not.
I forgot to ask. Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that. It was kind of interesting. I know, Tori, you've been on someone else's podcast before, but for me, and I think for Eric, it was our first time ever being guests on a podcast. So that was pretty cool.
It's funny that you say that. I always feel like a guest here.
Join the club.
Right?
We haven't even done that gag in quite a while. Time for making a return, if you ask me. Well, we mentioned a little bit earlier about Eric being an international man of mystery, which I think ties in together with our show that we were just on, which was also an international person from the United Kingdom that interviewed us. That's there, right. Tori. So I think we have another little international treat from the United Kingdom, and this is a special one. This is another birthday treat, as we mentioned from last week, and this was actually a gift to me from my mother, one that I requested. Sweet Mammy P sent this over to me. This one is entitled Marmite Yeast Extract. And I think maybe the listeners may be familiar with this, or possibly they may also be familiar with the Down Under equivalent, which is Vegemite, which has been featured prominently in at least one song.
At least one.
At least one.
That hit the American top 40.
Right, they hit the American top 40. Good point. Eric's still aloof from us. He doesn't know music either. He doesn't know TV. He doesn't know video games. He doesn't know internet.
What do you do with your time, bro?
Sleeps.
Sleep. 3D, sleep and 3D printers? I don't know.
I can tell you anything about Kickstarter you need to know.
That's right, yeah. Kickstarter and board games. No, at Vegemite, I have seen like a special on it when they were, I don't know, some news channel I was watching. I think it was a short segment on Vegemite on Sunday morning, probably. What I do like to watch.
Were you at work when you saw this by chance?
No.
Were you a man at work?
He has no idea where to go with this. He's
he's stumbling onto the
what do you mean, Tori?
I say he's going for that song, that 80s song.
You're close enough.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It was 80s, right?
Yeah,
it was
okay.
80s.
Men at work.
Yeah, okay.
Knocked it out of the park. He
eventually got it after being clued in heavily enough.
Now I know the song, but I still have no idea how Vegemite ties into Men at Work.
He mentions it. They're from Australia.
Oh my God. I know the listeners are going to be a little confused because it seems like that was pretty seamless, but we actually edited out about a 12-minute long pause while Eric thought about what we were referencing. And now he's writing down to murder me and
that's for
break in and murder me. So
was Sweet Mammy P familiar with this at all, since she's the one who got it for you?
I mean, I think she has heard of it. I don't think that she's ever tried it before. I would be doubtful. She certainly didn't mention that. I don't think anyone in my family, and I don't know how about you guys felt. I was a little bit excited to try this. I know I've heard it discussed many times before, this and Vegemite, which I did do a little bit of research on this to try to learn the origins of this, because I was trying to figure out, I knew that they were related, and I was trying to figure out exactly what the relation was there, and evidently Marmite was the original, and Vegemite was essentially just a different formulation that was created by and for the Australian populace. And that was just, taste-wise, I've never tried Vegemite, but I understand that they're very similar, like a 1-to-1 type thing. I think just the formulation is slightly different.
I wonder why the name change.
I think they just had to make it something else, and I don't think there's actually like specifically more vegetables or anything like that in there. I think this is just, yeah, I don't think it's anything like that. At least if it is, I couldn't tell, which I didn't do very much research. I did a very cursory job of research, but
I was also watching a thing on the Science Channel about like this, about I think it was like Upper Norway, and they're so close to the Arctic Circle that they're kind of like Alaska, where they have like whole month of just darkness, and they eat Vegemite because it's a great source of vitamin B12, which gives you energy and whatnot to make up for the lack of sunlight. So it's like a staple over there. Like they grow up eating a tablespoon every morning.
And it's not a rough enough life being in the Arctic Circle.
Right.
A tablespoon of this every morning.
Yep. Yeah. Like a big whole.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this is getting a little bit into tasting notes, but for the listeners, from my cursory research, I learned that this seems to be normally served on like toast or biscuits or something like that. So I got us a nice loaf of bread here, and I toasted up, Eric, the resident chef, toasted up a couple slices for us. We put a healthy spread on it, I will say that. And as it maybe turns out, maybe that bread had a little bit too much health to it. Maybe we went a little bit thick. It was full of vitamins, and it was also full of flavor, but maybe that was not to the betterment of our enjoyment of it, I should say. I did want to ask, like, what, aside from what we've already discussed, what, if anything, did you guys know about this prior to going into this little adventure?
Well, I knew nothing about it, really. Yeah, when you said, I mean, I looked on the calendar ahead of time. I saw Marmite, and I thought, okay, well, I've, heard of some stones that, end in like,
calcite.
Calcite and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, what are we gonna, try something really weird or something?
Some kind of weird rock salt or something?
Yeah, like a rock salt, or I thought it was exactly like a periodical table, some sort of chemical here that we were just trying. I mean, it was very strange.
Well, you weren't that far off on the rock salt. Tori, what about you? Anything that you knew about this prior?
No. Yeah, I seen the name. I sort of clicked on it once because I didn't know if that was like a butt calendar type.
Butt type.
I don't know if that type of thing exists. And I just sort of blew right over it. We have we got intelligent people at the helm here, so I trust you. Maybe I should reevaluate that after this Marmite.
Perfect.
But yeah, I just figured I'd go with it. What the hell? Why not?
Cool.
But yeah, to answer your question, short answer, 0. Nothing.
Huh.
I knew nothing.
If you put in parentheses Vegemite, I would have had like at least a clue. I would have known. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I figured it was related to Vegemite in some fashion.
I didn't even make the connection.
Yeah, this is the original. So if anything, you would put Vegemite in parentheses, like Marmite is the OG, I guess. Yeah, this is what they have, from what I understand, out in the United Kingdom. And,
it had that fancy
penal colony.
Had that fancy labeling on it, just like the Maya mustard.
Oh, yeah, the Maya too.
Yeah, the product of UK, all that good snazzy stuff. So, very cool.
Yeah, I would. Before we get any further into that, I would say, without further ado, Tori, do you want to go ahead and give us a little visual description of the outside of the container that we're looking at there? Kind of a neat little bottle?
Yeah, sure thing. I'd even tell you how even more clueless I am about Vegemite and apparently Marmite. I mean, because I thought they were two different products. But I thought Vegemite had more of a granular, almost like a caviar type texture.
That was the impression I was under, too, actually.
Yeah. Because of course, they talk in a song about a Vegemite sandwich. Right. Could you imagine putting this? Well, never mind. But let's see here. The outside of the label. Of course, it's a small little thing.
How big are we looking at?
Oh, boy. 125 grams.
All right.
That's right. We're metric over here. So at any rate, yeah, it's small. It looks, I don't know, it looks almost like off the shelf of one of E's apothecaries. You would find possibly in a D&D campaign.
Sure.
Probably something like that. He would pull that off the shelf. But yeah, it's quite small. It's glass. It has a bright yellow lid. 2 labels on either side. They are, of course, yellow, big ribbon Marmite in front with a green ribbon underneath, rich in B vitamins. Of course, we covered it. It's a yeast extract. On the back, it says, wake up your taste buds with a sunshine cresting a hillside. Put the oomph in your breakfast. And then the text gets really small. So you know what that means. It says yeast extract spread fortified with B vitamins. Yeah, more of the same. Expiration date, QR code, and so forth. But there you have it. That's the bottle in the visual dimension.
Well, this is going to be an interesting one for you, Eric. But do you want to go ahead and give us a little bit of a description of the actual sauce condiment item that we're looking at on the inside?
Sure. I mean, what you can't really tell really from the outside per se. It just looks like dark, very dark,
almost black.
Yeah,
hard to tell if it's brown glass or
right. Kind of like the Gravy Masters, almost.
Right.
In that
respect. I actually held it up to the light, and you can sort of see the light penetrating just the top edge where the sauce is not at. But even then, it barely, like the light bulb barely goes through, and it definitely does not penetrate the sauce itself, not at all. So pretty opaque in color. When we opened it up, it was a perfectly, almost like looked like a solid, but it was very shiny and very opaque as well. Very smooth looking. Looked like kind of like a resin, I would say. Yeah,
it looked like it was shellacked on there. It was like perfectly smooth and perfectly glass-like, I would say.
Yeah, glass-like. We took a picture for the Instagram on the inside of it just because it was so unique looking.
Yeah, it was mesmerizing, actually. I felt it was one of those things like when you get a perfect jar of peanut butter and you feel bad about like plunging the knife into it. I kind of felt the same way about this.
I don't know. I like peanut butter. I never feel bad about that.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Can you speak a little bit to the consistency of it, though, Eric?
Well, yeah, sure. Once we dipped our knife into it, it was more like a molasses. It really clung to itself. When you try to pull it apart, it left these nice long strings. It was very much like
the mozzarella cheese from a pizza, in the cartoons, and they pick it up and it stretches about 3 meters,
like a runny putty in a way. It was had a very interesting elasticity to it.
It looked like industrial adhesive to me. That's what it looked like.
Yep, that's a good way of describing it.
Yeah.
Spreading it on the toast was an interesting challenge. It didn't really spread that well either. I thought maybe a spoon, using like a jelly, using the back of a spoon might have worked better.
I thought once the toast warmed it up a little bit, it flowed a little better. But it was pretty tricky. Yeah, it's tar-like, definitely.
Tar-like, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, we actually even heated it up in some hot water and put into that too. And again, like the...
No, we didn't put the jar in the hot water.
No, not the water.
Yeah, we read the Wikipedia article, and then one of the things they suggested was making a drink out of this. So we did try this on toast, as we had mentioned, but we also tried just some hot water and mixed the actual Marmite itself in with the hot water, like a tea almost.
It took some working, because you just put that spoon in there with a little dollop of Marmite on there, and it was just gonna sit there all day long. Probably it wasn't exactly gonna break up. It took quite some vigorous stirring to get it to
I think dissolve. It would have dissolved if you had let it sit in there for a second, but we were trying to hustle up and do that. So
yeah,
eventually, I don't know how long you had to wait.
I mean, like I said, once it seemed like it heated up right, it did seem like it dissolved pretty quick. It just took a minute to heat up fully.
I'd say it probably dissolves in the same dissipation as honey, which again takes a while.
I think that's that's pretty accurate. About right. This is kind of like the antithesis of honey in a way, which will lead us kind of into our initial tasting notes, which, who wants to lead us off? Eric, you want to lead us off with that?
I was going to say, it's your sauce. Why don't you start it?
Well, I think I was the first to try this, and I made I can now say firmly, a mistake of liberally coating the toast, because I was excited to try this, and I wanted to take a big, bold bite of it. As we later learned on the Wikipedia, you're supposed to spread it very thinly over some toast, with also possibly paired with some butter or some margarine. We paired it we spread it very thickly on the toast, which
solo.
It's a bold flavor to say the least, and it was emboldened that much more by how thickly it was applied. The first thing I will say is overwhelming. that is the first thing I will say. The second thing that hit me was it is a salt. Not even a bomb. This is a salt, like nuclear warhead. This is almost pure, like you had said earlier, Eric. It's almost like a rock salt because it is so salty. The next thing I got out of it was almost like a beefy flavor. Not quite truly beef, but a beef-like type flavor, I would say. A lot of umami, but when you have it in such a heavy quantity like that, it kind of sticks to the back of your throat like napalm and coats it, and you go, trying to get it out of there, get it out. And that was a little rough. And I think that we learned as we went on to put it on a lot less thickly. But I know as I was tasting it, the one thing that I declared was it tastes like you just chomped down on a beef bouillon cube. And I think
that's accurate.
As I said, I think that would pretty much do it for my description of my initial tasting notes. What about you there, Eric?
Yeah, I think it helps to give the listeners a little bit of a backstory on how we went about trying this. We took way too much, but we all did it collectively. I think Adam almost wanted to. I almost wonder if it was like a purpose sabotage here, because we counted down before we all bit in at the same time onto a big mouthful of this, and I was hit by immediate salt.
Are you suggesting that I sabotaged myself in this as well?
Oh,
gotta make it believable.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Anyways, he would sell it. It was hit me with salt right off the bat, and then umami flavor, which actually was kind of good, but then you got this slightly funky beef. And there was so much going on flavor wise. My particular taste buds were literally bouncing between the salts, the umami, and then this funk. And it was like 3 separate times where I actually cycled through and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna vomit. Oh, I'm gonna vomit." Oh. It was so bad. It was intense. I couldn't just swallow it down. It had such a sticky tackiness to it. Yeah. Yeah, it was a roller coaster of flavors, and it was intense, and it was not the way to try it. That's for sure. If you have somebody who maybe knows about this sauce and wants to introduce it to you properly, hopefully they will not play a joke on you and
right.
spread thick
that I
gobs
did it to
of
myself. I think I put mine on the thickest, to be fair. I did a little bit of research on how to apply this. We did apply this on the correct item. We just applied it wrongly.
It was toast. What do you think, Tori?
Toast was good. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say anything really that hasn't been said in spades. Yeah, I mean, boy, I think the aftertaste is a bit irony. I mean, that's almost like you bite your tongue a little bit. You know, you get a little bit of that iron from your blood in there. I don't know. I could be just feeling crazy.
No, you're right.
No. I get it. I see what you're saying.
I mean, that's really about the only thing really of any value I could add. That's not a repeat.
Any kind of oiliness to it? I don't know. I was gagging too much to really tell. Oily?
It's just sticky.
From a texture standpoint, I thought it was goopier than molasses.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you too. It's very molasses-like visually, I would say, but it is almost like stickier than molasses is in some aspects. It's very close. So that's definitely the closest comparison you can make.
Mm-hmm. Cold molasses.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this was definitely
because it had like a funk to it. Sorry, Adam. You said
got
old.
The funk.
Old molasses.
Cold.
Oh, cold. Oh.
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, the stringiness thing too. I just thought that was really something. But yeah, like I said, I've been wanting a long time to try this, and I'm glad that I finally did. The one thing that I will say is that we did a couple revisions. Like I said, we tasted it in the hot water per their recommendation. There's also some alcoholic cocktails that they suggest with this, which we did not try yet. Honestly, it's kind of the same appeal. Like if you like to drink like beef stock, like a warm beef stock, or like bouillon dissolved in water is like a little warm winter treat to kind of warm yourself up or something like that. It's very much that same kind of appeal. And I think that when we spread it properly on toast, I actually quite liked it.
Yeah, you did.
I know you guys weren't as much of a fan of it. And I think that if you had put some, as Tori is fond of referring, a schleck of butter on there first and then spread a nice little thin coating of this, I thought it would have been really good.
Yeah, I think the butter would do a lot of good.
Like really good. Like the creaminess from the butter to kind of tone it down a little bit. And I actually, one other thing that I thought too would be nice if you spread some, like I said, spread a thin amount on a slice of toast and then slap a fried egg on there. And I think some of that greasiness and the richness from the egg cutting down on that with a little bit of the salt coming through, I think that would be delightful. That was kind of my thoughts.
No, that makes sense. I think this is the viscous salt to our viscous vinegar experiment.
Yes, that's like I said earlier. I think, yeah, if you want to talk about like the antithesis of honey, good. It's like...
And it's so salty. I mean, yes. And salt's a flavor enhancer. So,
you have been enhanced.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Greatly so.
This will thoroughly fucking enhance you. Speaking of enhancement, though, I think the one thing that we kind of touched on a little bit earlier is that this is like some sort of a health food. Like you mentioned, this is something that is like a nutritional supplement. And we're just pulling this off Wikipedia here, Eric. This is actually a really interesting Wikipedia page to check out. A lot of interesting information on there. But you want to go ahead and give us a little summary of the nutritional information there, Eric?
Sure. Marmite is rich in vitamin B and B vitamins, including thiamine, riboflavin. I know I'm saying that wrong.
You've never seen these before. Go ahead.
Niacin, folic acid, and vitamin B12. The sodium content of the spread is high and has caused concern, although those amount per servings rather than the percentage of bulk Marmite is relative.
Wow, dude, you're really having a hard time reading. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger for you here. But that's okay. I think you got the gist of it. Yeah, there's the one thing I will note is that it has a high amount of thiamine or niacin in it. I think we definitely got our daily dose of that because I know after I put this in my mouth, my face was red as fuck. Niacin's known for making you flush, Derek.
Oh. I did not know that.
Yes.
Huh. Apparently you can beat a drug test with niacin, too.
I've heard that, yeah. I've never personally tried that, but I've heard that as a thing. But I've also heard that there's something like I said, the flushed appearance can be kind of a giveaway. So, but yeah, interesting. One other thing, like I said, I would highly recommend people check this out because there's all kinds of interesting like marketing stuff on here. It's apparently called Our Mate in Australia and New Zealand. I guess they have it over there now. interesting information there. There's special editions. You see that, Eric?
I do. I saw that. Marmite Guinness.
Yeah, which I think bears mentioning that this is evidently made from, it's yeast extract, but it's evidently made from like a byproduct of the beer process. Like the excess yeast that they use, that's what they create this stuff with.
I feel like it'd be a really bold, intense flavor, even the, Marmite Guinness. I can't see it being any particularly tastier.
I struggle to think how different it would be, because the one thing Guinness has going for it is a dark beer.
Right.
Like, how are you making this stuff darker? Like, that's the main contribution. Now, Guinness is kind of like a smooth, creamier beer, but still, that does seem a little strange to me.
Yeah, I haven't never tried to do like a mimic beer recipe for Guinness. I don't know if it takes any moss. I know that's often a feature of brewing.
Also featured prominently in your cooking.
Moss?
Yeah.
No,
you wait till
like
things
mold.
have moss on them, yeah.
Mold. It's more like mold. Get my penicillin.
Yeah, I wanted to mention a little thing about their manufacturing here, because they have some stuff on here which sounds pretty fucking metal. So I wanted to read this for you guys in my best imitation Tory voice, but manufacturing. While the process is secret, the general method for making yeast extract on a commercial scale is to add salt to a suspension of yeast, making the solution hypertonic, which results in the cells shriveling. This triggers autolysis, during which the yeast self-destructs. The dying yeast cells are then heated to complete their breakdown. And since yeast cells have thick cell walls, which would detract from the smoothness of the end product, the husks are sieved out. Which sounds pretty fucking metal to me for Wikipedia, if we're being honest. It then goes on to say, as with other yeast extracts, Marmite contains free glutamic, I don't know how you're supposed to say that, acid, the monosodium salt, of which being monosodium glutamate, which I think could have an explanation for some of the umami bomb flavors that I think we were tasting.
Fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, MSG is supposed to be a great flavor enhancer as well, so, I mean, that, yeah, totally makes sense.
Now, Eric, you're making a little bit of noise on the air there, and I wanted to call that to attention to shame you for it, but as you pointed out to me, you have to make that noise because in order to get to the nutritional information, you actually have to peel the top of the label back, like one of those little medicine bottle things, But without further ado, the manufacturing process is secret, but presumably the ingredients are not. Would you like to lead us off with those, Eric? Can you read them?
Say, this one is a little bit more like what we just read off of the Wikipedia, really. Nutrition information typical values here. And it's all broken down into fat is greater than 0.5 grams per portion. Of which saturates carbohydrate, of which sugars, and then protein and salt. So basically it's telling you like carbohydrates per serving 2.4 grams.
Are there ingredients?
It's the nutritional information values. No, there is no ingredients.
Maybe it's just yeast.
Oh, my bad. The ingredients are in the back.
God damn it, Eric. Oh, the place where they always are. Who would have thunk?
All right. Hey, look at this. The ingredients are yeast extract. Contains barley, wheat, oats, rye. It has salt, vegetable juice concentrate, vitamins, all the ones we already read, natural flavoring, and contains celery.
I don't know. That's what it sounds. Oh, maybe. I don't know. That's what it sounds like. If they say ingredients, it must be added, right?
I would guess so, yeah.
Bizarre.
That's it. Contains. I like the way it says contains celery in parentheses. I'm not sure why they note that at the very end. God forbid, don't have. Maybe you have an allergy to celery.
Hey, man. I guess that's possible. I don't know.
They do mention vegetable concentrate on there.
Yeah, they have. Oh man, there's all kinds of stuff in this. This stuff is like a real mystery in a bottle. I do think that's pretty interesting.
What? Dynamite chili. Nice.
So
Limited edition.
Oh, cut me a break, dude.
That sounds cool.
So let's take a look at the website really quick here, just to see what they have interesting on there. Eric, your first thing you noticed there was this dynamite chili.
I bet you that'd be really good in making your own pot of chili.
They do recommend this in being included in savory dishes like chili. Yeah, they do say that's like a secret ingredient for people. So, I mean, I would give it a shot.
There's the one from yeast extract from, it looks like, that's XO is usually a tequila brand, right, Adam?
Oh my God, look. Read this. It says, Marmite XO is back by popular demand. Now available in Tesco stores. Marmite XO is matured 4 times longer to create a full-bodied, stronger flavored Marmite. What the actual fuck? I can't imagine anything more strongly flavored than this. Who the hell is buying that? Oh my God.
Backed by popular demand.
They need legitimate theory. Well, I'm just like, maybe it's because maybe this is like a lifetime supply in this little half-cup jar here. It's like you spread it like 1 atom thick across your toast because, man, I tell you what, like I had to spread this. Our first one, we totally obscured the toast. And then the subsequent one, we put on enough there where you could just barely see a ghost of it on top of the toast, and I thought that was like an appropriate level.
But for cooking, it makes sense. I don't know. XO, it'd last you a while.
I actually wonder if that's maybe the proprietary The Weekend edition. I know you don't know anything about that, but that's his thing. Like XO, yeah.
Oh.
He's Canadian, which is kind of like America's United Kingdom.
Okay.
Never mind. All right, well, I don't know. What other thoughts did you guys have about this stuff? It's pretty strange, but like I said, I actually kind of came around to it. I kind of like it. I'd like to try it on more applications.
I thought it smelled like old.
It smelled old, like just like
dust.
Aged dust.
Yeah, it's old.
Yeah, it does seem distinctly British. I don't know, something about it. Like they've got that brown sauce. I don't know what it is about them, but like all their foods are brown. Like we were talking about the curry earlier, the fish and chips, the beans, the black pudding, blood sausage, whatever. You've got your toast, you've got your banger. It's all brown. Everything they eat's brown there. I don't know. It's like Browntown. That's what we're going to start calling, Britain Browntown. And they've got this Marmite here, which is quintessential brown and flavored to boot, and I don't know what it is with them and the brown stuff.
I find it interesting that it's so flavorful. For being a UK kind of product, and I know people classically say, okay, UK fare is very bland, and maybe that's why they have such, their HP sauces and bland either. I think, a lot of their sauces and whatnot, their ingredients, it seems, for cooking this Marmite, that packs a whole ton of flavor, so.
Right. Which, one interesting tidbit, we were on this show earlier, and they were kind enough to give us a list of the top 20 sauces in the United Kingdom. And I know Marmite did not feature on there, and I was under the impression that this was a more popular sauce over there. So maybe some of the bolder sauces are not as popular. Maybe that's, this is something that just is a very niche product out there.
Maybe that's an old-timers thing, and it's starting to fade.
That's what I was kind of wondering, too, if it's maybe something like that. I don't know, because we have lots of kind of similar things like that out here, so.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It could be something like that.
I'd say there's a strong case to be made that this is just a very much additive ingredient used in cooking, that this is just something that's snuck in and a lot of people aren't really aware of.
Maybe. I mean, I think it definitely is probably like, grandma's secret ingredient in a lot of stuff, but it does seem like it's most popularly used just on toast. So,
yeah, it does sound interesting.
I would be interested. Maybe we'll have to hit up our boy Allie or someone like that, just to get like kind of a younger British person's thoughts on this as like, how commonplace this is. Because there's certain things that I think people think of as American. I'm kind of struggling to think of an example right now. Like, if you get an American pizza in like Italy, they put fries and burgers and shit on the pizza. You know what I mean? I'm just wondering if there's like things that people think of as quintessentially American that aren't really a reality out here, or we don't really like. And maybe this is one of those things, like we think of it as quintessentially, British, and it's really not that popular out there.
Well, it certainly isn't that popular common around here either, so I don't know. But it has its place, like you said, like maybe closer to, maybe down in Australia, New Zealand, but then it goes by the name of Vegemite, so.
Well, yeah, it's a different product. Like I said, it's not the exact same thing. It is developed differently, independently of that. Is a copycat, essentially, but basically, it is a different product. So, I would have to think that it would be popular in both areas, and I would think that if it was popular enough to spread from one area across the globe to another, that we must be missing something here. Like I said, I kind of like it, actually. You just have to be very careful with the quantities. But I am curious to try this in some more, like, cooking stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. I mean, I could even see the same way we dissolved, maybe a quarter of a teaspoon into a little bit of hot water and drank it. I could see that even being like a quarter of a teaspoon mixed into some fresh cooked steamed vegetables. Just mix it in there into the vegetables. It would amp the flavor of those so much. It'd be great. It would be really good. It'd make those vegetables pop. I don't know.
I think you could throw this in any kind of like savory dish the same way you could throw in like Worcestershire sauce into something.
Sure.
You know? I think if you tried just like a shot of Worcestershire sauce because you didn't know anything about it and you tried way too much, that would probably turn you off too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
You know, your comment earlier about Gravy Master, this is really like a thickened version of Gravy Master too.
In a lot of ways, yeah, I would say. You know, it's like Gravy Master was too thin. This is like they went the opposite direction. Small container, ultra thick. But I think we captured a lot of our thoughts there. So without further ado, let's go around and get ahead to the ratings portion of the show. Tori, would you like to lead us off with that?
Yeah, sure thing. Well, I think Marmite's a bit of a stinker. Bad news. I think it does have its application, certainly maybe in a more savory meal. Maybe the dinner like you guys were mentioning. I don't think for breakfast, certainly not for breakfast, and definitely not on toast. I'm going to land at a 3. Below average.
I mean, that's certainly fair, I think, for the application that you tried it on, like you're saying, on toast and breakfast, the applications that they're really recommending. I do think that, like we all agree that maybe a little bit of butter would help to enhance it, but ultimately, you know, from the standpoint of where we tried it, I can certainly understand where you came up with that number.
The hot beef tea is okay, but not on an 82-degree August evening.
Right.
That's fair.
But yeah, so I think, you give me that cold, wet afternoon in January, February, and, it's there. It'll be much better.
Fair. Eric, what are you thinking?
I'm going to be a little bit kinder just because like I said, I see all the applications that you could do with it. Although, yes, my initial tasting was vomit-inducing, which sounds horrible, but I'm going to land it in as a 5. I think there's a lot of potential for us to be better. I don't really see how it could be much worse than what I just had to experience. So it can only go up from here, and I'm going to give it a 5.
Yeah, I'm really torn on this. Probably one of the most torn I've ever been, to be quite honest, because this was, like you said, gag-inducing immediately upon tasting it because that like napalm sticky consistency on the back of my throat. Like you said, I almost was thinking I might have to puke or something like that because it was just stuck there and I didn't know what to do, and it was like, ugh. And all that being said, I mean, I think it's kind of good. That's the weirdest part about it. I think that, I steered us wrong. I will say, we didn't benefit from my application of this, my heavy-handed application. And I almost want to entirely withhold judgment from it. Like, I almost want to say, well, let's put a pin in this. I'll come back to it and I'll give you a rating. But I know that would be breaking from tradition. So I think I'm going to have to go with E, and I'm going to give it a 5 with an asterisk next to it because this is something that's so subjective. Like I said, I really want to try this more because honestly, I really think it could be good in a lot of things. Like really good, not even a little bit good. So without trying that though, I think for right now, I'm going to give it a 5.
So you made a comment earlier about, monosodium glutamate, MSG, is very close to this product. It's actually is this product in a large way.
I think I may have misled you on that. It said something like one of the ingredients is similar to the salt that's in monosodium glutamate or something like that.
Gotcha. Well, I have a coworker who's recently been trying all new cooking experiments and whatnot, really amping up his game in the kitchen for his new wife, and he was telling me about how excited he was that he came across entire, I think it was like a bag or a jar or some sort of, he came across MSG at the grocery store and he was just blown away that you could buy it. And I thought it was funny. I said, the only other person I know of who actively says he keeps MSG in his cupboard is my good friend who likes to cook, Adam, which you've mentioned here on the show. It's not something that, again, it's like a secret ingredient while cooking that people aren't really aware of. I think this is falls right in line with that kind of use. I think this is something that a chef or a really a person who likes to cook a lot and knows what he's doing in the kitchen could really use it to their benefit when they're, making a dish. So.
Yeah, I think that's really true. The one thing I will say about the MSG is that, they don't sell it in like a bag called MSG, obviously. They sell it in a little canister called Accent.
Oh,
so a lot of times if you see it in someone's cupboard, you're not going to realize that that's what that is.
Accent, like is in like the way someone speaks?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, accent as in like it's putting an accent, like an exclamation point on your food,
Gotcha. Fair enough.
But yeah, that's exactly what it's called. It's just called Accent, and it's in an innocuous looking little red and white container. And they have other brands too, but I think that's the most common one in the United States. So you've almost certainly seen it in someone's cupboard and not realized what it is. Maybe you thought it was some kind of salt or something because that's what it looks like, just a finely ground salt. But that's what that is. That's MSG. And like I said, features prominently in a lot of people's cooking. It's just that people don't typically advertise like, oh, what'd you put in that MSG, because it's such a anti-buzzword, that we've discussed before for no reason, essentially, no valid scientific reason. So
for sure. The only other benefit that I could see is actually being better than using just MSG in your cooking is that this has so many vitamins and whatnot to it. So it really is kind of like a little additive, little
salty supplement.
A salty supplement that, makes your cooking even better.
Yeah,
in more ways than just the taste.
That's true, too. And vitamin B, I think, is one of those ones that's good for, like, your mood, So you could say it might be a feel-good thing, There might be something to that. I would be interested to know if the vitamins are naturally occurring or if they were added, as Tori speculated there.
Yeah, why would they be in there? And there's certainly nothing on there that would lead to... I don't know. That just sounded very bizarre that they would add it in there.
Right, but it also makes me wonder, like, if they did add it in there... Why?
Is it like iodine with salt? Like there was some
I don't know.
dietary need for it? It's not very sunny out there in England, so
good question. But I think vitamin D is all dietary, if I'm not mistaken. Like I don't think you manufacture from the sun like vitamin D or anything like that.
I thought vitamin D was the sunlight vitamin.
It is, but vitamin B is what's in this.
Right. Okay.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's something like that. So I don't know. I have no idea. But
Sorry, what's your spice rating on this?
That's funny you say that because I was going to make that joke earlier and I passed on it. That's funny.
What's your puke factor on this? What's your modifier?
Pretty high.
Yeah, I didn't get close to vomiting like you guys did, but that was not a very pleasant experience, man. That wasn't good. I mean, yeah, definitely maybe good at mixing a meatloaf or like a roast or something like that, but yeah, I think it's relegated to ingredient status like Gravy Meister or whatever the hell that was.
Gravy Master.
That was not on toast, dude. That ain't it, Chief.
I'm super intrigued by that whole that Marmite Dynamite chili. I think that has a lot of potential. I think that could be really good in chili. I mean,
the last time I made chili for you guys, I kind of jokingly went online and found every secret ingredient that they add to chili, and I put them all in the chili, and it was good chili. But that was.
Do you have any Marmite?
No, I was kind of being a little snarky there. It did have anchovy paste in it.
Nice.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't put any Marmite, but I was just thinking about that. Like, you know what? Fall's coming up pretty soon. We might be whipping up a big batch of chili for dinner one of these nights, and maybe I'll sneak some of this in there. See how that goes.
Yeah.
Another ingredient you'll like better that I sneak in there, Tori, is a healthy amount of Yingling.
Ooh, now you're talking. I sneak. Well, I don't necessarily sneak it, but
one for me, one for the chili.
Yeah, right. I ingest enough of that ingredient.
4 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's like I said. I think it's a really interesting product for us. Pretty unique. I can't even come up with anything weirder for recipes than they've already come up with for their cocktails. Let's look and see here a couple of the cocktail recommendations and see what they have, what they actually consist of, because I'm curious.
Yeah, I wonder, it would just be like with a bourbon, I guess, or I don't know. Or would you put it with, I certainly couldn't imagine wanting to put this in a beer. That'd be terrible.
Well, it's kind of already like beer. Just be like beer squared.
Yeah, but I guess, hey, old-timer guys, they always there's talk of them putting, salt in their beer.
They put weird shit in their beers. Egg
in the beer, yeah.
But haven't we heard them putting salt in it, too?
Oh, yeah.
Amps the flavor, so maybe you could put this into a beer.
I could see that. I mean, I think even the idea of, to me, a shot in a beer, which is a real classic, basic thing, to me, I just think that's a little weird. Like, one or the other is my preference, but...
Yeah, right. Why both at the same time?
I don't know. Yeah, I know it's an old-timer thing, but...
That's a beer chaser, usually. I don't know.
I guess, but that just seems like you're cruising for a bruise in there. But while you were discussing that, I looked up the Marmite Gold Rush cocktail. Oof. Man, the presentation on the picture here on the line looks like a Halloween photo. It's got your frosted glass, an orangey looking substance inside it, a pale peachy orange color, and a painfully large amount of Marmite oozing down from the rim of the glass. Looks like half the bottle of Marmite oozing down. I assume that's what that is, right?
I was gonna say, do we know that for sure?
No, I'm speculating. But
No,
that's what
I
it
would
looks
say
like
so. I would say that's what
visually.
it is.
Although they do have the Marmite
I hope not.
Gold, it looks like a different off-brand. They seem to, I don't know, Marmite seems to love doing their special releases here.
I almost wonder if that isn't a frosted glass, but if you're seeing condensation, I think it looks like a
This
hot...
is condensation?
No. The glass
Do you think
itself
this is
is
condensation?
because there's a hot kettle behind it with steam pouring out of
Oh,
it.
you think it's a hot glass?
I think it's a hot glass.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
I thought we were just going with the Halloween motif, and that was, the spooky
That's what I thought.
scientist dry ice.
Well, let's see here. Okay, so here's what they're saying is in this Marmite Gold Rush. They're saying that, God damn it, that I was right, first of all. The taste is also a force to be reckoned with, and I'll say that again. Grapefruit juice, vodka, sugar cane syrup, and a bar spoon of Marmite Gold drizzled around the rim. Which, why? Served with a teapot of Marmite flavored steam. So yeah, you're right, hot, and it's steam. I don't know what the steam does for you. Why it has to be Marmite flavored steam? Yeah, all that fruity stuff, this fruity and the sweetness, and that much Marmite drizzled around the rim. That's terrifying.
Sounds terrible.
No, yeah, there's nothing that sounds good about that whatsoever. Would you try a drink of that, Tor?
Absolutely not. Without question, no.
Oh, there's a Mama Rita. Let's see what this one's got in it. This one's just got tequila. Yeah, they put this around the rim, too. So the key thing here, so this one's got, as we were reading, it's got tequila, triple sec, and lime juice, and then, again, around the rim.
That at least
Marmite.
makes a little bit of sense.
I mean, I'm starting to see what they're doing here now, and it's just kind of like they're doing, instead of the salt around the rim, they're just doing the Marmite. I really don't think that would be an improvement over the salt. I think it would be quite the detraction from the salt, because while Marmite is salty, it has all those like beefy flavors I don't see mixing well.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's
Not
weird.
unless the gold version is different in some great degree.
I have no idea what the difference on the gold is, and well, we'll pop one on the website one more time and see if we can find this Marmite Gold here.
Yeah, it's super interesting they have all these different flavors. Like I said, they've been around. It's been around for a while. It's got quite some history, some longevity in the sauce and spices world. Wow, I mean, there's Marmite Crunchy Peanut.
Crunchy peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, so they've got the Marmite XO that we discussed, the Marmite spread that we discussed, the crunchy peanut butter, a reduced salt, which I would just imagine there's nothing left to it after that, it's just empty. They've got this Marmite in every type of container you could possibly want, right off the bat, different sizes. I'm not seeing the gold
Nothing
on
about
here.
a gold.
Must be a limited time release. So, yeah, the Marmite Gold just says it's blended with gold-colored flecks. So, get your heavy metal poisoning as well as the lovely taste, I guess. I don't know. Wow, yeah, so that's quite the thing there. So, well, I will say this was quite the experience, and I'm glad that you guys all endeavored on it with me.
Yeah. Is this the end of your birthday present sauces?
I think so. Pretty sure.
Not quite like a diva where it's going to last another 4 weeks, but,
Right.
He's working his way there.
I mean, we're pretty close. It's basically the end of August. Well, I think that's going to do it for us this week with the Marmite yeast extract. And with all that being said, Eric, do you have any closing thoughts that you'd like to share with us?
Sure, even if you want to be sneaky and play one on your friends, like I'm accusing you of doing, as long as it's all done in good fun and good jest, it can be a good thing after all. So, yeah, it was quite the experience, and it was kind of fun. So, Tori?
Nice. There you go. Let's take a lesson from Marmite. Let's take it easy and take it light.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, Marmite spread itself too thin. Don't do that. But take it light, as you would a sampling. Take life light, on the lighter side. Take this Marmite light. So there you go. Wrapping it up.
Cool.
Good call.
Neat. Well, that's going to do it for us this week with the Marmite yeast extract. As always, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Oh no, it's the end of the show. Thank goodness there's several other episodes waiting just for you. Check out our Instagram. We like to have some fun over there. We post the sauce bottle pics if you're curious, and the occasional meme. That's going to be Sauce Spoken official. Hey, despite our humble nature, we are accepting donations, believe it or not. Look us up on PayPal. That's going to be at Sauce Spoken. Hey, and if you like what you hear, grease those palms, babe. Lastly, roll up your sleeves and get into the nitty-gritty at saucespoken.wordpress.com. We have show notes and details. Check it out. Share us with a family member or a friend. If you're enjoying it, I'm certain they will too. Good night.